Pattaya City Expats Club is a non-profit social organisation and our speakers are volunteers. The club as such assumes no responsibility or liability for the professional reputation of or the quality of services provided by the speaker today.
A single moment or a single step of this great presentation. As David Letterman used to say, my next guest needs no introduction, but we're going to introduce him anyway. Jumping in when our member Art Wedmore was not able to come do his great talk, that will come later, is our own Ren Alexander, sharing with us the Dance of Joy. And by the way, my name is Amy Falcon. I am your booking agent. I am the person that will come tap your shoulder and say, would you like to do an interview or talk and tell us a great story of your work? So if you want to talk, come see me. If you want to see great dancing, hold on. It's happening now. Ren Alexander.
That was Amy's first big moment in the spotlight. So she did good. Well, welcome. As she said, I'm filling in at quite short notice due to COVID hitting Art Wedmore, who's a wonderful speaker. So, let me tell you a story. Let me take you on a journey. (1994). Who remembers being alive in 1994? Not all of you, but a lot of you. I was 38 years old. I'd had a relationship with this woman, okay? And all right, adapt and improvise. I'll come on stage again, okay? Okay, so 1994, 38 years old, and I've done a lot of inner work, breath work, and Jungian sand play and dream work, etc. And I just had a 4-week retreat doing this, partly to get over this woman. And actually during the retreat, I called her up and said, look, I can't see you anymore ever because there's this chemistry between us. It keeps sucking me in, but you treat me like shit. Okay. 2 months later, she calls me up because it was pre-mobile phones. Couldn't vet the calls. And she says, I phone up to apologise. I couldn't see it at the time, but I was just being a totally selfish bitch. Sounded like the truth to me. Month later, phones me up. Ruining our relationship was the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. 8 years later, she tried to slide back into my life. Failed marriage and a kid in tow, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I just come out of this inner work thing and I thought, I want something different in my life. I want joy. Joy, right? I want to feel joy. This kid's feeling joy, okay? He's not worried about the future. He's not planning, I can be happy after I get a great job or something. He's experiencing joy in the moment. So let's do a joy experiment right now, okay? Work with me. Can everybody put their hands up in the air? Oh, well done. Now, I'm going to count to 3, and on the count of 3, everybody's going to put their hands up in the air and go, joy, as loud as they can. 1, 2, 3. Joy! 1, 2, 3. Joy! 1, 2, 3. Joy! Now, who felt a little bit of joy just doing that, okay? Just a little bit of joy, just a little bit of energy in the moment, right? So this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to experience joy. Oh. What is joy? What gives you joy? Have a think about that, right? We get these singers come in, and usually they're late night people, but they get up in the morning and come in because Toots said, look, I could be sitting in my room being bored, or I could be here experiencing the joy of singing and sharing joy. By the way, in terms of sharing, if you need to be on your phone, go outside to be on the phone. That's what everybody does here. So otherwise, it's not really respectful of the speakers. So, what gives you joy? Think about that. All right, Sonia, we know, she gets joy out of teaching, singing and singing. So what do I believe in? I believe in the wisdom of Britney Spears. Not exactly renowned for being wise, but she said a very wise thing. She was being interviewed by Barbara Walters, and Barbara Walters said, "Do you like your voice?" And Britney Spears said, "I like how singing makes me feel." So what did I feel joy in? I went on a search for joy. Now, I'd always liked being on the dance floor and mucking around with women on dance floors at parties or something. Never had a dance lesson. So I thought, yeah, dancing gives me a sense of joy. So I went on a search for dancing. And a platonic friend took me to a dance night on a Saturday night, and there was a rotation. I was faking the steps, pretending I knew what I was doing. And the interesting thing is, at one stage in the rotation, this woman said to me, "Hello, Ren." And I looked up and she, oh, Ingrid. Yeah, and she's smiling at me. This was the woman I'd lost my virginity to, a couple of years previously. But she'd gone on to marry a friend of mine, have 4 kids, divorce, blah, blah, blah. So that was a start, not very good. So I knew they taught a Latin dance in various Latin-style restaurants and stuff, 1 or 2 nights a week maybe. So I started going there. And this was 1994. It was pre the Latin craze, okay? 1999, Shakira, Ricky Martin and others, they broke Latin music worldwide. It exploded out of South America, but in 1994, nothing. Or almost nothing. And I was living in Petersham at the time, which is not exactly central Sydney, but nearly. And a flyer, not this one, a flyer was put in my letterbox from a dance studio advertising courses in dance, Latin and ballroom. So I thought, beauty, I'll give that a go. And they taught lots of Latin styles. They taught cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha. They taught mambo, they taught rumba, beautiful dance rumba, and they taught waltz and the ballroom dances. So that was much more have a seat, sir, please join us. If you're going to stand up, you have to dance. Only people, yeah, he started to dance, good on him. All right, so that was much better. And I'll go back to that one. And I went to a party, and there was a woman there, and there was music playing, so I asked her up to dance, and I was mucking around on the dance floor having fun. The thing about dancing, what's great, is it creates joy in you, but it also creates joy in the person you're dancing with. So you create joy together. And I was dancing with her, I was mucking around, and she said, "Oh, you should do Ciroc." And I said, yeah. I said, "Why isn't this working?" Next. I said, "What's Ciroc?" And she said, "Well, it's like what you're doing now, like mucking around on the dance floor." So I thought, okay, I'll go to a Ciroc class and give it a go. Ciroc. And she turned up for one class, that class that I started at, and then I never saw her again. She didn't keep going. But I got the bug. Now, Ciroc was a very good, very well-structured night, right? They do a beginner's class, and if you're really a beginner, they do consolidation, but they do beginners, freestyle, intermediate, freestyle. So you got a great night out of it. You got free dancing as well as lessons. But when I started, this first class, I remember thinking, where's the footwork? There's no footwork in this. No, why aren't they teaching footwork for these steps? You know, because in most dance forms like cha-cha, there's a standard cha-cha step, right? And you're doing cha-cha and you're thinking, okay, what do I feel like doing now? Oh, I'll do this, right? And then you go back to the basic and think, oh, what do I feel like doing next? But in Sarok, it's like, oh, I've got to do something new. I've got to do something new. You're always having to jump to the next. But the upside of it was, because there was no steps, I was able to interpret the music. The footwork didn't get in the way of interpreting the music. So I started to develop a real passion for it. Oh, going backwards. And whatever I say, I'm going to be talking about choreography and routines, etc. This is the essence of Sarok. Getting together, having a fun, having a dance, enjoying yourself. This is what Sarok dance parties tended to look like, because it's danced on the spot. And super, super fun. Most fun you can have with your clothes on. And at this time I was still doing some Aikido classes, and then this year I finished my black belt. And one night I'd be dancing, and next night I'd be doing Aikido or something. And I thought, now, what do I want to do? Do I want to be thrown round the mat by ugly guys or dance with beautiful women? Let me think about that. What do you think I voted for, guys? Dance with beautiful women. Yeah, and so much fun. So this is an interesting question. We got some keen dancers here. I know it's come in specially. Thank you. And what do you think the first law of dancing is? I discovered this. I was doing some freestyle with this woman in a dance class, and she was off time, so I pulled her back on time. And God bless her, the next week she said that I'd hurt her shoulder. And I thought, oh, thank you for sharing that. What does it matter if she goes off time, right? Doesn't matter. First law of dancing, first law of medicine. First, do no harm, okay? Look after your partner. And at the time I had an ex-girlfriend, these sort of 98-ish, I had an ex-girlfriend visit from Melbourne, and she was into tango. Tango hardly existed in Sydney, but she took me to a tango class and I learnt two really amazing things. He was a really good teacher, and at one stage he said, you're going to learn a lot of moves in tango, but the best times you'll ever have are the basics done well. And he also said, you can't judge a tango from the outside. It's a very intimate dance form, tango, very intimate. And I realised it was the same with all social dancing. You cannot judge a social dance from the outside. You don't know what's going on inside them. They might be doing really basic moves, not particularly doing them well, and having the most amazing dance because they both feel joy and they're both bringing joy to each other, right? Whereas I've seen people dance to a romantic rumba, an instructor and stuff, and they're doing this monster lift above the heads and stuff, nothing to do with the music, but to do with like getting admiration from other people. It's like, no. Social dance, about bringing joy to your partner and yourself. Now, this is a very interesting thing because I want to bounce this off guys and see if they agree with me. When I came to dancing, a couple of things. This is a very nice lady I became good friends with. And when I came to dancing, I looked around in my life and I thought, where are all my friends? Where have my friends gone? And I realised that Australian guys were effing hopeless. Soon as they got in a relationship or married, it was like, see you guys, bye. You know, one full, the other empty. They didn't need friends anymore and they just disappeared into their marriage/relationship. And some guys I know have said to me, yeah, I've done things like that in the past. Whereas women, they will maintain their friendships. So I got a couple of really close female friends, this was one of them, and sure enough, they'd get in a relationship and they'd still maintain their friendships and, you know, see it, make time for you, etc. This is us actually doing the intermediate freestyle championship in 1998. And we practiced and stuff, but poor Natalie, we're walking out to the floor and she's going, I can't remember one move. Show me any move, show me any move, blah, blah, blah. So she missed my first 5 signals, and so we didn't win the comp or get into the finals. But lovely, lovely lady. I was very grateful to her and another female friend I developed. Which brings us back to the question, what is Sirach? Okay, well, the truth is, there is no such thing as Sirach. Right? Rumba, it has a music, it has standard steps, cha-cha music, standard steps, waltz, all these things, salsa, whatever it is, they have standard music and steps. Sirach has none of that. There's no such thing as Sirach music. It evolved in France. And apparently it was originally called le rock, as in le rock and roll, okay? And then apparently maybe that badge got swept up by intellectual property in England. They changed it to Sirach. So it is very free form. No set music, no set steps, big question mark. But great, great fun. Where's Mick hiding anyway? Where is Mick? Oh, you're hiding at the back, you slacker. He's a long-term Siroccer since 2000 himself. All right. Now, about this time, I started to get bored with intermediate Sirach classes. All right? I started to get bored. But instead of doing less classes, I did more classes. And I went back to beginners and made that my most important class, and I would really study the move and study how to make it more interesting and stylish. So I was doing more classes, and that opened up new levels to me of choreography and creation and stuff. This is the law of quantum leaps. If you want something to go to a higher level, you have to put a lot of energy in a short time frame. So I really got a lot out of going back to beginners class. The other thing that first struck me when I came to Sirach, hello, yeah, if you need to be on your phone, we understand, but, you know, outside. Sorry? Okay, good on you. Thanks for apologising. She came in late. Now, the fish rots from the head. When I first came to Sirach, what shocked me in the very first class is the teachers would not dance with the students. I'm going, are you kidding me? Why are they not dancing with the students? They danced with the elite demo crew, the cool kids who learnt a routine and demonstrated it and stuff. They were like the cool kids at school or something. And then what happened is the cool kids, the demo crew, copied their example, and they wouldn't dance with beginners either. Right? And I thought, that is just weird, because I'd done dance classes and the teachers were always grabbing the beginners and helping them, right? Now, so to give you an example of what happened, like there was this one woman, I asked her to dance, she said no. I asked her a second time, she said no. I asked her a third time, no. 3 strikes and you're out, okay? So I never asked her again. Now, years down the track, I was a good dancer and all these other good dancers, and she'd be sitting on the side and saying, why is nobody asking me for a dance? Reap what you sow, right? But then, in 1999, oh, by the way, I want to make an exception of this woman, Nikki Gelati, lovely lady, perfect attitude, would dance with anybody, #1 dancer in Sirach, won every championship she was in, flawless attitude. I'm still mates with her. She used to like dancing with me because I was always making up moves. There were 2 founders of Sirach, a male and a female. They were never in Sydney. They were never in a relationship, but they split in 1999. So suddenly they were no longer a monopoly. They were a... Sorry, excuse me, I find that really distracting. If you need to be on your phone, that's fine. Yeah, well, actually it's illegal to record people without their permission in Thailand. And the video will be up on YouTube and you can see anything. Edit this part out, okay? So, the big split. Suddenly they were in competition and there were two organisations, Sarok Australia and New Sarok. And so suddenly the teachers started to dance with the students and learn their names. Another interesting thing is how dancers related to each other. I must have been going to Sarok classes for like 5 years before anybody asked me, what do you do? Which is like almost the first thing you ask somebody, because they related through the energy of dancing. You learnt so much about the person through how they danced. Also in 1999, who's familiar with this album at all? Or Led Zeppelin, at least. You're all familiar with Led Zeppelin, right? Well, this is an album, and I went to a Sydney dance company. They weren't doing partner dancing, of course, they were doing modern dance. And they did a 9-minute dance to a track from this album, Kashmir, a blend of pumping Led Zeppelin rock and Arabic street music. I was stunned. I went out the very next day as soon as I could and bought the album and kept playing and replaying it. And I thought, oh, I'd love to dance to this. Also in 1999, this lady, Vicky Thompson, moved from Canberra to Sydney. I danced with her a few times because there was dance camps in Sydney, Melbourne, whatever. And she'd already had a background in competition. She was had competed in the finals of national aerobics championships. So she came up and said, let's dance together in the championships. I said, let's do a routine. I played her the music and she was like, God bless her, she put up her hand to do it. Like, this is a radical idea. At the time, everybody was dancing, and I still suppose they do, they danced to happy, happy, happy songs, right? And we're saying, okay, we're going to do Led Zeppelin and Arabic street music routine, right? And she got really nervous. The final rehearsal, we're running through and she's missing hand. She kept going, sorry, oh, sorry, sorry, sorry. But she said, I'll be all right when there's an audience. I'll perform for them and I won't be nervous. I'm thinking, oh. And fortunately, in the last run-through of the rehearsal, 2 people walked in, so she had somebody to perform with, and suddenly, it's like a new Vicky Thompson. She's performing, she's not missing hand signals, etc. But on the day of the championship, she is like shaking with nerves. And this is the last time in my life I was nervous going into this championship. I could say it's partly because I'd never done anything like this before in my life, but also I was nervous because she was so nervous. And she was saying, you have to get on the microphone. You have to tell people that it's an experimental routine that's not like normal Sarok and stuff. I said, no, no, no. That's patronising. We're going to go, we're going to do the routine, and people will just make of it what they will. And we were quite prepared that people would sit there in stunned silence. We'd finish the routine and they'd go, what the hell was that? Maybe one person might applaud. So this is what happened at the Sydney 2000 Sarok Dance Championships. We won that championship. I'm always a little embarrassed when I see the actual clip, and of course then I fell over. I'd never fallen over before. Eventually I learnt that you had to have 2 pairs of shoes you took to a championship and try on which suited that floor. And we tried the floor early in the day, but then thousands of spins later on the floor it was really slippery. We weren't the only people to slip over at that stage. And when I sat down, I was like a little bit pissed we hadn't nailed the routine. And I said to a guy who was dancing I really respect, I said, well, you know, we didn't nail the routine. He went, no, mate, you absolutely nailed that routine. People were blown away. They'd never seen anything like it, right? So they, you know, people really, really were like, and of course there were quite a few Led Zeppelin fans who were going, yeah, Led Zeppelin, yeah. To win without risk is to triumph without glory. Well worth contemplation. Powerful people are the people out there doing what they don't quite know how to do, which certainly applied to us with that routine. So, at the time, I just thought it was a fluke and I didn't think I could choreograph. But then, Latin was big then, and because of the split, suddenly it became okay for your average dancer to do group routines. So they started offering group routines, and this lady that got there, Melissa, she was choreographing a routine, but she couldn't stand the person. And she said, I'm doing it with him, I can't do it, I'm leaving. And she asked me to step in, so I helped choreograph the last 2 minutes. And that's what actually convinced me that I could choreograph. In fact, I developed that move for that routine. And that was the first Macho Mambo crew, the first ever group routine offered outside the cool demo kids. And they were so excited and thrilled, and the team spirit was so huge. Don't have time to see that routine. And Latin music was now really, really big. So I started, and I've already been developing my own Latin variation of Siroc just personally. So for instance, when I came to Siroc, they had something called Manhattans, and they were like this. Right, this were Manhattans. So I thought, I can turn this into like a Latin style move, you know, with like a hip roll and straight legs and stuff. So I started doing things like that. And with Latin becoming so big, I started offering Latin Siroc workshops. And I always remember one story about that. This guy, I did it first time, second time, this guy came to both, and the third time was coming up and he said, what are you going to be teaching this time in the Latin Siroc workshop? I said, exactly the same. And he said, no, you're going to teach new moves, aren't you? I said, no, it's going to be exactly the same. Really? Yes. But he still turned up. He said, oh, my new dance partner has to learn how to dance like this. And because we were involved in Siroc, we were involved in the opening and closing Sydney of the Olympics, the opening and closing Sydney of Sydney 2000, which was one of the great landmark events in Australian sport and Australian history, really. And this is actually a group of us waiting to go and do dancing feet in the closing ceremony. It was fun because it was all just Sirocers, and they had all these people, and the organisers were going, nobody's dropping out. Everybody keep coming. They're used to like a certain proportion dropping out, but no, people just kept turning up. And I said, well, this is what we do. You know, we turn up, see our friends and dance. So they had to find some extra things for those other extra people to do with dancing feet. And I was also in the opening ceremony. Interestingly, when we auditioned and we did group routines that we've been trained to do, I thought, the organisers are going to see this, and what's going to make their eyes light up is guys that can count music and stay on time, right? And sure enough, Siroc guys came to do all of what they called the Tin Man in the opening ceremony and stuff, because they could do that. So you never know what things can lead to, right? Now, also around this time, this lady, Enza, wonderful Enza, she'd been trained from dance at an early age. And this was interesting. The good women dancers in Siroc usually had training in dancing from an early age, but the better male dancers tended to have martial arts training, because then they were used to following, They were used to looking at people and copying what they were doing. They used to balance and stuff. So almost all the better male dancers were... Sorry, am I boring you? It's okay if you go, if it's boring. It's not supposed to be for everybody. If you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody. That's one of my philosophies. So, smooth. She said, look, I want to dance at my friend's wedding. And I said, oh yeah, cool. I just thought we'd go up there and freestyle. And then she said, no, I want to do a routine. So I thought, oh. So she turns up with me, and she turns up, and I said, come in, we'll put some moves together. You never know what happened if you say yes. And she said, I really like this number. It's a wonderful number. Deborah Morgan danced with me. It goes like this. Lovely number, but floor dancing. And she said, I want to do lifts. And I said, it's not lifts music. It's, you know. And so I put on this number to warm up. Smooth. Wonderful. Classic Latin number, Smooth, with Santana and stuff. And she said, oh, I really love this music. And I said, well, we can do lifts to this because it's got crescendos and stuff in. Okay? So I said we can. So we started throwing moves together to Smooth, Santana by Smooth, Smooth by Santana, and this is one of the things it led to.
And finally, in the advanced open section, from Australia, Ren Alexander and Enzo Bergio.
It's a hot one.
Ren Alexander and Enzio Bergio from Australia. The winners for the Advanced Open category for 2001, I think they've worked it out. Ren Alexander and Enzio Bergio from Sydney.
So you could see the Latin influence, right? And I thought I'd lead on, because this is the last one couple routine I did. And at one stage, Enza was on the phone to me and said she wasn't sure she wanted to dance with me again because my dancing was a bit flat. I'm not even sure what that means, actually. But anyway, I played her this song, another really radical choice, from Moulin Rouge, called Jealousy. Now this routine has a very big effect, especially on guys, okay? One time after we debuted it and stuff, this woman, we did it in a few championships, and this woman said, he watches that routine, my husband, watches that routine all the time. And he said some very powerful words about the routine, and she said, go on, tell him. And he wouldn't tell me, I don't know what it was, but she said it for him. She said, every time he watches it, he gets tears in his eyes. So, watch carefully, guys. Maybe you'll understand why it guys tend to get lumps in their throat with this routine.
We have a dance in the brothels of Buenos Aires. Tells the story. The prostitute and a man falls in love with her. First, there is desire. Then, suspicion. When love is for the highest bidder, there can be no trust. Without trust, there is no love. Jealousy. Yes, jealousy will drive you mad. Roxanne, you don't have to put on that red light. Walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it is right. Roxanne, you don't have to wear that dress tonight. Roxanne, you don't have to sell your body to the night.
His eyes upon your face, his hand upon your hand, his lips caress your skin. It's more than I can stand.
Me dejaste en un tango. El alma se me fue el corazón. Ya no tengo ganas de vivir, porque no te puedo convencer que no te vendas, Roxana.
get a bit of a lump in their throat during that routine? Watch it a few more times. So that was really my apotheosis. This was really my apotheosis of what's possible with partner dancing. You can tell a story, you can create emotions in people. I thought I would share this. I came up with this idea that once every couple of years we could do a full-length sort of stage show out of routines for friends and family. The first one in 2001 was super successful. So we were doing the rehearsal for it, and all the different routines are gathered in this sort of flat dance space, and everybody's going through the routine, and everybody's talking through all the routines, right? Because they've seen the routines before. So Enza and I was just in civvies, just normal, it's like street clothes. We weren't in our costumes. So you come on and the music starts. We have a dance in the brothels of Buenos Aires. Suddenly it's a church. Everybody stops talking, they stop moving. Like this, right? Everybody's watching the routine. And Andrew and I are thinking, we're gazing at each other as we're doing the routine, thinking, has somebody died or something that everybody's gone quiet? And then after we finished, huge applause and pats on the back and everything. And then they did a rehearsal through with costumes, and we thought, oh, well, this time they're going to talk. So music comes on. We have a dance in the brothels of Buenos Aires. Total silence. You know, everybody. Then huge round of applause and pats on the back and stuff. So it does have it's one of those routines that it has more of an effect when you watch it a few times. I thought I would mention this. Freestyling. Some of you might have known when I used to go to the sandbar by the sea and do regular freestyle sound, just drag up people I'd never danced with before. And one, Rita Battagliano, she was a really good dancer. And in fact, Paul Jackson reckons the whole reason they ended up putting in a dance floor there was because Rita and I started pioneering dancing there. And one time the person who used to come to the expat club, she was at the thing and I got up for a dance and she said, oh, you just show off, you're just going up to show off. And I said, I can tell you that is 100% inaccurate. If there was a dark space where nobody could see us and there was just me and my partner and the music, that's where I'd be. How do I know that's true? Because that is what I did in Australia. I would ask a woman for a dance, I'd go where nobody could see us, look at us, just me and the music and my partner, joy, bliss, right? So, but, you know, because, you know, we've done championships, if you dance in freestyle and people are watching, you tend to shape the moves towards them so they can see them, just to be polite. Oh, I thought I'd just throw this in. This is where I actually won a freestyle competition, not just one of these dumb routine things. And that was the woman I won it with. That's not how we did the freestyle. That was from a group routine we dressed up on. I haven't gone into the group routines. And this is something I wish I'd found out while I was doing this dancing. I wish I'd found out about this reality. Resting bitch face. This is Vanessa Van Edwards. And this is a reality. Some people, when their faces are just relaxed and they're not animated or smiling or talking, they have what's called resting bitch face. I have resting bitch face. Right? And I'd never heard of this expression. If I had, I would have just planted an inane smile on my face when I was doing freestyle, even though we were like dancing to Baby Did a Bad, Bad Thing, which is not exactly a happy, happy song, Baby Did a Bad, Bad Thing, because I knew another guy, he was winning championships, and his dance partner that he won championships was watching him dance in a Dance with a Stranger thing. She said, oh my God, he doesn't smile. My partner doesn't smile when he dances, but nobody would notice. He didn't have resting bitch face, right? So anyway, that's something I would have definitely done a lot of inane smiling in freestyle competitions. So, in search of joy, mission accomplished. How are we going for time there? All right, now, we're going to do an experiment. We're going to do some freestyle dancing. We're going to get up some some volunteers from the audience. And unfortunately, this is a lesson in footwear, right? We were supposed to be in the auditorium, and this footwear suits the auditorium, but now we're on carpet, so I have the wrong shoes. We were supposed to pack and bring the right shoes, proper dance shoes, suede soles, but somehow they got lost on transit. So, have I ever danced with you before? No. Come on up. Yeah, come on. Yay. Come on, Mick. Come on up. Yeah, you're a Sarok dancer. Yeah, give Mick a round of applause. Can we have a volunteer to dance with Mick? Come on, you ladies. Sanya, you're not shy. Oh, yes, that's the tango lady. All right. So, we've got a little treat. We're going to dance to this. Oh, firstly, before I do this, by the way, Ron, put your hand up. Dar, put your hand up. This is Dar. I've taught some dance classes that Dar went through, but she's gone on to bigger and better things. Now, Ramsay Brasserie, Thursday and Saturday nights, they have bachata. And bachata is the dance form that's most like Sarok. It's very highly improvisational, it's very sexy. And they've got a dance festival coming up 1st to the 3rd of August. So you can do some bachata classes and join in the bachata dance festival. And also, tango, Argentinian tango, the princess of dance forms. It's just a wonderful, intimate, magical dance form, tango. And you can't judge a tango from the outside, right? It's all about what's going on inside. And this lady, to introduce yourself.
My name is Victoria. Today, if somebody wants to go to tango, like you introduced, you can go at 6:30. We will be waiting you.
Yeah, it's details are up there, and you can talk to this teacher who's filling in for Suk for a couple of weeks while she's away. But meanwhile, we're going to just do improv. How you feeling?
My name?
No, yeah, share your name.
Good.
Harasho? Ochin Harasho? She's Russian, right. All right, so we're going to, by the way, at one stage I thought I'd be getting Rose up to dance with me, but she fell in the shower and is really in hip pain and stuff. So, can you take this off me, Rose? Take the Mac off.
You won't admit you love me, and so how am I ever to know? You always tell me, perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. A million times I've asked you, and then I ask you over again. You only answer, perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. If you can't make your mind up, we'll never get started. And I don't want to wind up being parted, broken hearted. So if you really love me, say yes. But if you don't, dear, confess. And please don't tell me, perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. If you can't make your mind up, we'll never get started. And I don't want to wind up being parted, broken hearted. So if you really love me, say yes. But if you don't, dear, confess. And please don't tell me, perhaps, 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 perhaps.
A huge round of applause for our volunteers, very brave ladies and men. Yeah. Did you enjoy that? Got to remember, I've never danced with this lady before. Most of these moves you've never done before, hey? She's Russian, so she can't understand what I'm saying.
A little bit.
Dancing, universal language. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just stay here a second. This lady teaches not just tango. What else do you teach?
Salsa, bachata, kizomba, and zouk.
Yeah. Can you say that more slowly?
Oh, sorry. I'm after dancing. Salsa, bachata, kizomba, and zouk. Brazilian.
Yes. Zouk and kizomba are also great fun. Thank you so much. Go and talk to her later about dance classes, etc. Yes, and thank you so much for those brave ladies and one man who got up and did the stuff. And the most important thing is we obeyed the number one law of dancing. No one got hurt, okay? All right, so it shows you what can be done. Never danced with this lady before. I remember one time I was dancing with this lady just locally and somebody said, how long have you two been dancing? I said, 3 minutes. And she said, how can you be dancing like that? I said, I know how to lead. She knows how to follow. You know, so you can have amazing magic dances and create joy in the instant through dance, okay? So, any questions? John, good on you, John.
Thank you, Ren, for bringing back some very happy memories to me. I first picked up the dancing craze, believe it or not, when I was 12. And I first saw Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers on the cinema. I was absolutely stunned. You know them. Fred Astaire was a past master. So I decided to join a very nice club, very similar to the one you showed on there, called Hawley's. I fell in love with this 16-year-old beautiful expert dancer. So I joined. I was there for 3 bloody years and she never danced with me. She was always dancing with the instructors. Right. But you know, I learnt every dance that you were dancing. Let's say dancing. Sounds a lot better, doesn't it? Yeah. Rumba, quick step, foxtrot, waltz. But the one I really liked was rock and roll. 100%. And the twist, another happy one. But what a brilliant exercise, and you are right about poise and balance. I did judo as well when I started when I was 12 and carried it on virtually through my Navy years. But dancing, when I went anywhere, I was up there dancing, and all my mates were sitting on the side like wallflowers going, But I had the most fantastic time, and I thank you for that pleasure of watching you dance. A lot of poise there comes from your judo, Thai, whatever. Right?
Yeah, I studied judo for a while as a teenager and also some kung fu and
100%
aikido.
enjoyed it. Thank you.
I'm glad you really liked it, John. That was a great sharing. So, Sanya.
Ren, I want to tell you that you're still young and you look like on the video, changed. My question is, Serok, name of the dance? Serok. It's completely improvisation or a choreography dancing?
Well, the routines I'm doing, of course, those were choreographed. Okay. But what we're doing here, which is free dancing, we're just making it up as we go along. We had no idea what moves we were going to do next most of the time. But, I know what the music is coming up, so I'm trying to do things appropriate to the music. So I'm doing perhaps, Perhaps, right?
So you created in your head?
Yeah, it's sort of like
all
spontaneous choreography. In fact, when I moved to Thailand, I didn't really miss. I tried to do tango class in Bangkok. Germans should not be allowed to teach tango. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's like
why?
You will do this move now, yeah. Which is the opposite of the philosophy of tango, right? It's very free form and individual and internal, right? So I didn't enjoy those classes. But after I stopped doing Sarok, because my heart got broken by this woman I'd been dating for 4 years, and she said no to my marriage, and she had another guy lined up, and I just went into a really deep depression. And I realised the only way I could get out of it was I had to stop. I just had to set myself to never see her. And so I stopped doing Sarok, and then my friend Ian, a wonderful guy I met through Sarok, he was saying, look, Bren, but you're going to lose your life, because my social life was built around dancing and my friends and everything. And I said, yes, but I'll get me back. And that's what happened, right? I had to let go of Sarok. I did some tango, and I did some salsa. Now, I have to confess, for most people who've done interpretive dancing, like Sarok and tango and so forth, rumba, salsa tends to be boring. It's very repetitive. All the music seems the same. And if you go to a salsa class, you'll find that there's these really expert dancers, but not a salsa dance, not a class, but a dance. And these great dancers will sit out 4 songs, because it's like the 5th song's exactly the same anyway. Whereas in Sarok, there's always a new, different number that comes up, and you come in off the dance floor tired, and then they're putting on Smooth or something. You're thinking, oh no, I've got to dance to this, right? So you go straight back out. Anyway, but there are some really great dances to do here. The bachata especially, and the tango, I cannot recommend too highly.
Ren, so that was amazing. And what I was wondering was, I'd never heard of Sarok until I watched your videos. In the West, in the U.S., there is the West Coast Swing Freestyle Jack and Jill competition. So is this very similar to that? What are the similarities or differences? Because the West Coast Swing seems to be based on some known common denominators.
Yeah, West Coast Swing developed out of swing, and it was developed actually as like a performance dance. So it's done actually on a line, and a lot of the people I did Sarok with have gone sort of converted over to West Coast Swing. And again, it's a very interpretive, highly improvised dance form. It's great, West Coast Swing. But as I say, I'd probably be doing West Coast Swing in Sydney if I was still there.
Number one, you're one of the most energetic, motivated persons I've ever met, and it's great that you're a leader of this group. He really is fantastic. Oh, and new things coming out all the time. My question is about dancing. Is there still dancing? You know, I go to Insomnia. I'm probably the oldest guy there. Some of you guys want to join me? Come on. There's no dancing. It seems like dancing went out with John Travolta, you know, and that movie, Saturday Night Fever. What do you think about that?
Well, it used to be interesting, because I used to go to subsposed dance clubs, and they wouldn't start dancing till some ridiculously late hour when they were drunk, right? Yeah. So they'd be dancing, but they'd start at 11 o'clock or something ludicrous. So I wanted to get up dancing now. But this is the great thing about Sarok. People would just go, oh, first number's up, oh, we're up dancing, right? So maybe they start dancing at 2 in the morning when they're drunk, because some people just need to be drunk to get up to dance. Pretty sad, really, when you think about it. Does that make some sense to you? Well, certainly you go to the tango classes and the bachata and stuff, yeah, it's very, very much alive. And, of course, it's not really legal for me to teach dancing here because, you know, I'm on a retirement visa, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I thought there was one more question.
Can I just make a comment? Your Santana clip that you showed, your partner, about the most fluid dancer I think I've ever seen, just like water in your arms flowing. fabulous to watch. Absolutely.
Yeah,
fabulous.
Anza was just so great. She was such a gift to dance with and stuff, and we've stayed in contact. She was already dating a wonderful guy when I was dancing with her, and she went on to marry him and have 4 kids, and yeah, she's a lovely, lovely person. Oh, one more. By the way, this video will be on YouTube. You can watch it, and you should definitely rewatch Jealousy. You'll be surprised. You watch it a few times.
I went to the Bamboo with a friend, and a lot of people were dancing. The music was very nice interpretation of, 80s, 70s, 90s music. And people actually got up and danced, and the dance floor was full most of the time. Bamboo is right after the entrance to Walking Street on South Pattaya Road. Can't miss it, Bamboo. I mean, you can check out.
Thanks for that sharing. But also, Sambai by the Sea does have a profile with dancing, and they do have salsa on Friday nights, etc. And lots of people love salsa. It's the most popular dance form worldwide, and it's been simplified. When I learned it, originally has this kick step, but now they just, it's much simpler now. New York or LA style, I think it's called. No, I've never been. Oh, good on you. Yeah, no, the dance scene in those sorts of countries, in Argentina with the tango, amazing. All done, all changed. John's couple.
Yeah, you started it off, the joy of dancing. It's fantastic. Once you get somebody you can dance with and dance properly, because you have to lead. And a lot of girls, particularly in Thailand, they want to lead. So you've got a problem here. But, it's a brilliant way of meeting people.
Yeah.
And also exercise, 100% exercise.
Yeah. There's no downside
Get
of
up
dancing.
and do it, lads.
And don't be worried that you're not supposed to be an expert in your
friends.
first lesson, okay? One more there.
Both Smooth and Jealousy were amazing. How long does it take from concept to performance for routines like that?
I would say a minimum of 6 weeks, but it depends how often you're practicing them and stuff. So, in Smooth, that was like maybe the 3rd time we'd performed Smooth in a championship performance setting. We also won. Interestingly, maybe sometime I'll give another talk about group routines and stuff. I learnt a lot about people in teams, because I've mainly been a writer in my life, etc. I've been mainly a maverick style person, and I got to study people in team settings, and it was really fascinating, and I got to learn a lot. I didn't think there would be time to do that justice here, but for instance, when you're running a business or an office, all these people are doing different things, right? But when you're doing a team, they're all doing the same event. They're all doing the same performance. So it really can show up differences in people's attitudes, etc. So I realised there's only 4 attitudes in teams. You interested to know what those 4 attitudes are? All right. Well, firstly, there's people who hang around teams but are never really part of them. There's the loner. They just want to be left alone. They don't even want to be complimented. And then there's the maverick. The maverick is like a team of one. All good leaders have a bit of a touch of a maverick in them. I'm like, I'm very good as a team leader or as a maverick, but I don't want to know about committees and stuff like that. So, but within a team, there's only 4 attitudes. There's the team member, and their attitude is, how can I do my job to the best of my ability? Above the team member is the in-team leader. And their attitude is, look, I've got my role covered. I'm confident I can do my role really, really well. I've got spare energy or knowledge or enthusiasm, and I can help other members of the team to do better. The in-team leader. Below the team member is what I call the team passenger. And the team passenger basic attitude is, how can other people make my life easier? How can he make my life easier, right? People are going, oh God, I know people like this, right? And then below the team member is what I call the team saboteur. And the team saboteur is like basically, what can I get away with? Okay? Now, I thought, why are there 4? Why aren't there 10 or 12? All right? So, it turns out, say you've got some sort of thing, you've got time, you've got knowledge, you've got enthusiasm, you've got water, energy, whatever it is, there's only a certain, if you're all alone, you just use it. But if you're a member of the team, there's only certain, it presents other possibilities. So the team member's got, okay, I'm going to use this to do my job to the best of my ability, this energy, enthusiasm, whatever. The in-team leader's got, I've got more than enough of this. Who can I share my excess with the rest of the team, right? The team passenger is going, you know, I've got enough energy and enthusiasm probably to do this, but I don't want to spend it on the team activity. You help me out. You do some of my work for me, okay? The team passenger. The team saboteur is like, oh, they've got a glass over there. What's that over there? Right? They steal energy and enthusiasm and focus and vitality from the rest of the group. They wouldn't think of themselves as a saboteur because they say, oh no, I'm just seeing what I can get away with, right? But that undermines the group. Who can relate to this sort of different level, these 4 different levels of team membership, right? You must have seen it in your life, right? So this is really, really, but really important information that even if you're running a family or any sort of thing, knowing about these 4 levels, and I had some attitude problems in teams and group events, and so what I did, I ran the first one, so I got everybody together and I took them through this 4 levels of team membership, okay? And I said, this is how I'll assess you as a team member in one of these 4 categories. That's not how I'll assess your dancing, because I'll just assess your dancing externally. But as a team member, this is how I'll assess you. I had no problem with anybody's attitude after that. Not one problem. Just putting it up front, and people would do things like turn up to rehearsals when they didn't have their partner there, just to help out. Very, very powerful, the 4 levels of team membership. All right, wasn't planning to talk of that, but anyway, it's very, 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 very powerful information. Oh, also, I've got some of my books for sale. For you guys today, only 250 baht signed, 200 baht unsigned. So I hope you'll have a look at them. They're definitely in-team leader types books, okay? So I hope you got something out of today and enjoyed it, and hope some of you are inspired to try out some dancing. And thank you for everybody who came for the dance and everything. Okay, bye.